Yesterday's conspiracy theories, tomorrow's headlines. Most are still asleep and I ain't talking about no bedtime. The truth is not a Google search, you need to get your head right. The Greek goddess of illusion was called Media I'm not a coincidence theorist, I look for thread lines. Smashing every deadline, no longer smashing red wine. Though I can hear the bells chime, it feels like the end times. That probably should have been smashed on red wine. But the carnal mind is foolish, obey and end up ghoulish. Don't get used by instinct, take control and learn to use it. Make a load of earnest music, earn a few quid, learn a few tricks. Sure, the truth is persecuted, this whole world is pure abusive. Know a bit about everything and everything about nothing. Figured out my noggin while you picture out shopping. You sit about watching while I dish it out, stop it. I don't mean to sound cocky, I'm not even proud of it. It's a second nature to me just to be this out honest. I don't even need to sound honest, never been about profit. Everything but out on it, you can bet your house on it. Doubt I'll be out for the count when the sounds, and I'm down for the beat, no beat down. I mean, how long's it been? Help me out. I've been the only one who's held me down. All in the mind, hell freeze now. Still sick with it, healthy how? Few bars down and the world freaked out. I don't reach out, I seek out to speak out. I'ma recount the reasons they beat out.
Divine Pines Podcast. I am your host, Joseph Daniel Pena. It is August 3rd, 2024, the end of the month, and we are about to fill you guys with all the positive vibes that you needed this month. It's been a long summer. Am I right? It's been hot. It's been on our back. I'm pretty sure a lot of us have changed skin tones like me. I know I've gotten tan, and I hope that you guys have been enjoying it out there. Stay hydrated, stay happy, stay blessed, and welcome, guys. I want you guys to like, subscribe, share, tell everybody around that this is going down. I am running on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Rumble, sharing this out to Spotify, Anchor, many platforms. Find an RSS. You can also link this to your phone. So go ahead and do that. I want you guys to go ahead and look down below. There are sponsors and coupons. There are a lot of coupons, and everybody loves coupons because Bidenomics is hurting our pockets. So go ahead, take some money off your order for many of these things like C60, the world's best antioxidant. You can go ahead and check out shopc60.com. It is by far the best antioxidant for you. A Nobel Prize winning Buckfullerene, as they say, researched by Buckminster Fuller. Use coupon code 509 Divine Pines for 10% off your order. And if you guys would like, there are donation links below, or where you can donate. You can donate to my Cash App, you can donate to my PayPal, wherever you can, wherever you want to. This is a I guess people for people broadcast, man. I give this to you guys, and hopefully you guys get back to me. And today I got a cool episode for you guys. I'm here with Pedro Torres, the gym owner of Movement Athletics. I want you guys to welcome him.
Up?
Go check him out on Instagram, Facebook. Go check him out everywhere. Also, Movement Athletics. From a young age, he was drawn to childhood on his father's ranch. His passion for fitness and martial arts developed early, leading to formal training in football, wrestling, and Tae Kwon Do by the age of 17. After graduating from Washington State University, he worked in healthcare but realized his true calling was fitness. He founded SED Fitness, which is now known as Movement Athletics. You can find it in the Tri-Cities. It is a community-focused gym on holistic health and personal growth. His philosophy emphasizes hard work, fun, constructive criticism, determination, love, respect, and growth, aiming to inspire others to discover limitless potential. How's it going, man? Appreciate you for being here.
Hey, man, thanks. It's going pretty good. I really like your setup, man. That's an awesome intro you got for your podcast. It's real fun.
Hey, man, I appreciate just editing and thinking back and forth of what to put and how to put it. I appreciate that, man. Uh, let them know a little bit about you and where they can find you and what platforms, and just give them a quick little anything that I might have missed from that intro.
Um, oh man, I really don't subscribe to giving a chronological like story, man. Like, how about you just ask me some questions and we'll see what kind of things come up from the journey. It'll be a little bit more fun like that. But as far as where people can
All right,
find
all
me,
right.
I'm on just Facebook and Instagram. That's really where I spend a lot of my time. Um, I do have a YouTube channel, but I don't do anything special on there besides put on a lot of my exercise movements that I just put into some of my programming in my gym. But it's not really something that I'm very active on there. So I'm really spending a lot of my time in the trenches. So social media, just find me on Instagram and Facebook, and you'll get to see what the day to day is kind of like sometimes.
Yeah, I see that you post some fitness and gym inspired posts all the time. And for all my viewers out there, I know you guys really like what I do as far as promoting health and wellness. So if you guys would like, Pedro Torres has a page that would really get you inspired. And tell them about your gym, Movement Athletics. You like what do you guys do? How big are you guys? What's your main focus?
Yeah. So I guess what inspired my gym transition or evolution, as you kind of talked about in that introduction, SED Fitness to Movement Athletics. Uh, I started out just
What was said? What did it stand for?
SED. It was an acronym for Strength, Endurance, and Determination. Um, and I I kind of came up with that a little bit after I got fired from my gym job over at what was once known as the Tri-City Core Club. Now it's Pacific Clinic in Kennewick. What's up, Pacific Clinic? No hate. It was meant to be, man. That little shove
They
is what
pushed you to
got me
be the boss that you
into.
are today.
That's right. That's right, man. That's right. Um, and it's been fucking awesome, man. I at the time I was really into like obstacle course training and stuff like that, and I knew I liked to run hard. I knew I liked to lift and be strong, and I was the kind of person that just didn't give up. So that's why SED just made sense for me. And I have kind of a ADHD when it comes to like training and the kind of things that I'm into, man. And I grew up doing a lot of different things, man. Like dancing was kind of a big thing, man. My family is a family of musicians. Just so people have a little bit of a context or history, my parents migrated to the U.S. from Mexico, um, and my dad, when he was a kid, he played the accordion, and he actually made money for the family doing that kind of thing. And when he came to the U.S., he started a band with a lot of my uncles, and so my first exposure to movement in any kind of way was with dance and music because I would be going to these quinceañeras and bodas. For all the folk that don't know Spanish, quinceañera, Sweet 15 from Mexican culture. It's a little more complex than that, but we'll keep it simple like that. And bodas, weddings. Um, So I was always physically active, because there was the music dancing, and I grew up in North Pasco, which, like on a little farm, a little ranch. And my dad, coming from a working family, a working class ranch family, had a little farm up here where we had animals, and plant. We had our own vegetables and fruits. It was kind of a big garden. You know, we had goats and sheep and cattle, and yeah, we had all that stuff over there. So I would be like doing stuff on the farm like that, and then eventually I got into sports, dude, and that's how I just got into all the different kind of reasons to move. You know, it wasn't just lifting in the gym, and I guess that's why it felt it felt fair to evolve the name of the gym and try to live true to that. You know, of keeping a wide variety of movement practice, but as we talk about this here on the podcast, I have to admit there's a lot of things that I am wanting to add to my gym programming there, but we'll get there. We'll get there because right now what we're mainly doing is a
Nice.
lot of we're doing a lot of cross training there. You know, using like free weights, things that you would see in the CrossFit culture training. You know, but I also incorporate things that I've picked up from my football and wrestling and martial arts practice. We also have martial arts classes there at my gym, and but one of the things that's missing there that we don't do is dance classes. That's one thing that I want to bring back into the picture. But yeah, so right now we're just focusing on those kind of things. We
I could be the
also
Roomba instructor. Let's do it.
you could be the what?
The Roomba instructor.
Roomba.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. No, man, like for real, man, it has to be fun. There has to be some fun in there, and that's why I think that that's a necessary element that I definitely want to add back in there. At one point, we did have it in the gym, you know. I've been in business for 12 years, and we've had all sorts of things, man. Acro yoga is something that we used to have in there. One of my good buddies, his name is Logerman. Shout out to you, Lo. What's up, man? That guy, you would look at him, and if you did not know him, you just wouldn't expect the experience that he's had and the kind of things that he can teach you and the kind of fun things you can do. He's the one that introduced me to acro yoga. Are you familiar with that?
No, I don't know what acro yoga is. What I can't even imagine
Oh
what that
man.
is.
I'm sure that if you looked it up, you would be like, "Oh yeah, I've seen that in some kind of like fitness, uh, reels or shit
Is
as
it
you're
yoga?
scrolling."
Normal yoga?
It's like yoga, but with acrobatics. Basically human balancing. And I'm sure you've seen people do like crazy circus acts where they're like humans balancing each other in some ways. But in acro yoga, one of the common things is like a person that's a base there, so they're laying down on their back and they're going to be manipulating or holding somebody else, flying somebody. The person that's on the bottom is a base, and the person that's on top is a flyer, and they basically do human juggling in a oftentimes intentional, improvisational, fun way, you know, of like juggling the person. It can be done
It's
for
like a
like,
lot of gymnastics and cheering type of work, like would be in cheerleading
yeah, I
and the
wouldn't call it
Olympics
that.
and
Not
right, but I'm
necessarily.
the same
You'll have
movements.
to you'll have to look it up to get it, man. I'm not the best at articulating it, but it's a fun practice, you know. And I guess what I was trying to get at is all the things that he was able to show us. So acro yoga, he introduced me to qigong. Um, he introduced me to well, I mean, I already knew about regular traditional yoga, but so anyway, I just wanted to give my homie a shout out. Lo, he was a part of our community for gosh, 4 or 5 years before he just made the leap over to Oregon. He went to go join the circus, go to like a circus school, get down over there, do performing stuff like that. You know, living the dream. Um, He was, yeah, he's over there right now doing the thing. Anyway, but yeah, man, where are we at? Talk to me.
Well, yeah, looking back at how we came to movement athletics from the athletic foundation, did you always feel that you were called to be in sports or called to be an athlete? I know when I was a kid, I was questioning. Like I knew that I had some athletic ability. I was playing basketball, I was playing football, but I questioned on how much I would take it serious and how far I could push myself. And I didn't really understand my potential. Uh, I played, with my brothers and friends alike, and it was something I just never really understood until really later, I guess, for me, until I started realizing once in my mid 20s, I should be able to do this forever. If everybody around me is like really inspired by what I do, then I definitely can have a calling in it. How'd you feel growing up? Did you feel, um, and I guess you're about a couple years older than me, and the sports was a little bit tougher, as they would say, a little bit more manly and more masculine.
A,
Compared to these days, everything seems a little soft in the NBA and NFL.
a couple years older than you. How old are you, son?
I'm 31.
Aw, you're sweet, man. Couple years older than you. Then I won't reveal my age then, man, because a couple years, that's nice. Um, uh,
We'll leave the audience guessing.
no, man, I don't give a shit. Let's be real. I was born in '84, homie. Um, and it's definitely true. There's certain aspects of sports that was different, but I think that's mainly because we just didn't know any better about how fragile the human body really is, and how we should be more careful and safe. And the kind of technology that was provided for protection back then, it just wasn't as good as the stuff today. Um, and I guess also coaches were a little bit more tough on you, a little bit more rough around the edges, how they treated you, how they talked to you, and um, it was just different, But I I'm rather glad I went through that experience. So I'm fine with it. Um, I think it can definitely mess with some people, but I think I came out the other end good. And when it comes to this being a calling, nah, no way. I never really thought about this as being a calling. And to be honest, looking back at it all, it's more than anything, it was a thing that I had fun with. And sometimes there's some fun aspects with the competitiveness involved in it, like, I mean, football, yeah, that was a fun sport, but what made it fun was that there was a team effort in that, and that's a unique experience doing things with a team, with a group. It's a different arena than when it comes to, let's say, when I was doing wrestling. The team experience is like, I guess the way the team impacts you is like, if they're pushing themselves hard, then by default everybody's going to get better and stronger and harder, But at the end of the day, it's you and your opponent on the mat, and that's a very unique experience, a different arena than when you're on the football field. Same thing for martial arts, and martial arts tournaments. Um, but I did it because it was fun. I had fun. It made me feel alive, and I think. The reason I have kept on doing this, and I never really thought of myself as somebody that was going to be a fitness instructor or anything like that. It's just kind of how life led me down this path in some way, I guess. I guess working in hospitals and seeing things kind of made me feel like I needed to be on the other side in some way, and because it was something that I enjoyed doing for myself, and it was fun, and there's so many different ways of going about it. Uh, it's a fun place to be, a fun career to have, a fun profession. And if you're willing to do the work, there's 100 different ways of doing something related to this.
I think that if we evolve ourselves, um, we grow our body, and we push ourselves to new limits all the time, where the new neurons are being created, new synapses are being created, our mind is expanding. It can allow a lot of spiritual growth, and uh I think even just pushing ourselves past the normal comfortability limits of, if we can go on the jog, or man, hit the gym 5 days in a week, or does this really even matter? We can push past that comfortability. We can see a newer side of life, I think. Uh, how how was it learning how to evolve yourself into I guess a next level athlete? Is it something that you think that everyone can
Joe,
break out of their shell? Is it
Joe,
you think
Joe.
can people
Hey,
just can be comfortable in their stages?
hey. Um,
Yeah, I'm listening.
so first of all, you just started talking about how training creates synapses and all this other science jargon that, quite frankly, I don't quite understand because I don't dig into the science too deeply and those things. But what I
Oh,
got
I do.
excited
I
about,
love it.
but what I got excited about, I mean, don't get me wrong, I like to geek out on it and learn about it, but um, that was fun. Science words you were spitting. But real quick, check it out. When you're talking about spiritual evolution because of training and movement, that's what gets me excited in these conversations because it's true, man. It's 100% true that I strongly believe that when we're moving our body and working, and it's not just the hard training, right? Like, because there's kind of like different levels of that, like mind, body, and then that like God connection or that universe, like tapping into that universe, that spirit. And if we add different things that are new for us, that's where we build those new neural pathways that you started talking about. That's when our brain starts to build those new paths. And that's the heart of why I evolved the name of my business and why I personally practice like different things, dance, martial arts, yoga, qigong, strength training, the stuff that is most widely known and practiced in the American culture of fitness, pump and iron, CrossFit, um, but the fun things too, like calisthenic movements and all that other stuff. Like I think I think that what makes us humans very unique to everything else is the fact that we can mimic almost everything else that we see in nature as far as animals and all these other things, like it's kind of cool how we can do that. And I think that's one of the unique things that makes humans different from animals is that we also do art in different ways, whether it's the music expression and or dance, choreographed dance movement, how we start smashing some drums and slapping some bass and all of a sudden we start moving our feet and our hips and all this crazy shit can happen and we see all the different cultures in the world and how they all have a different way of doing it. That's what excites me. And I appreciate how you started talking about that, man. That's fun.
It's all connected to our history. As a culture, humanity has been involved in these, I guess, warlike chants. Before battle, they would have music and drums, and they would do their like yoga type movements, and they would get ready, and they would activate this spirit. Um, we inside of us are a creature of incited um energy, like we excite each other, excited energy. We all thrive on each other, and when we see athleticism, when we see connectivity uh around our community, I think we all thrive higher. Like I know communities that have a sports program, let's just say soccer program or basketball program or football program. It almost seems like the whole body, the whole spirit is alive between that community. Whereas, like, let's just say another city that doesn't really care about it, or no, a community that just doesn't care about that type of stuff. Like, there's a difference. Dance, but when we're talking about sports and athleticism, there's really something that uh, inspires us on another level, and activating our spirit through yoga or through the gym, cardio, running, whichever it may be. I think that's who we are naturally, and a lot of people have forgotten this. And I know that when I had spoken with you a couple weeks ago over at your gym, you had mentioned that one of your main goals of your gym was to help bring the community back together, or help bring energy to the community and help be an inspiration. Um, how would you say that your sports techniques, whether that be through the Tae Kwon Do, or whether that be through Kyokushin karate, uh, how how has any of these brought you to this, you know um desire to see a change in our community and our spirit, and how we can like be a blessing. I know martial arts like really dials into uh controlling and finding your zen. Brute, you in your bio you mentioned Bruce Lee as one of your inspirations. How,
Yeah.
how has sports and your athletic journey led you to your zen?
You know, I think I I really think that it's important that everybody that has the opportunity cultivates their body to its max potential, man, when it comes to being ready to go to battle. If you had to go head to head with another human being, you know, to me it's just such a interesting scenario, which I think that that's why to me it's important to train hard, not just because of that, but like you just never know what kind of like physical environment you're going to encounter in general. And I guess that's the thing that has always like pushed me to be in peak condition. It doesn't even have to necessarily always be like in the um, competitive realm and with other people where I'm having to go the hardest. That's fun. I've enjoyed that kind of like intensity and competition, in those realms. But I always like kind of take myself to these hypothetical situations, and because of the training, because of the conditioning, and because of the knowledge in martial arts too, it makes me not worry and live in anxiety or fear when I'm doing things or putting myself in places that are potentially dangerous or scary for some people. Um, that might be, and don't get me wrong, I'm not like delusional and naive like of nature, because nature can always do some wild things to you, you know. But I guess I just feel comfortable in most places and atmospheres because I take myself to those places in all my training, you know. And I'm not even sure if I'm answering your question correctly, and I'm not sure if I understood it, but I guess to me that's one of the motivations for me. I want to be available and ready to serve, protect, um, and or just have fun. You know, like at any time, at any place, and at any phase of my life. Um, you know, I'm 39 years old, man, and I I'm sure you've experienced this, but like when you get injured or you get hurt and you're not able to do stuff, it sucks. It's one of the most depressing things ever. And I don't want to be a victim of aging, and because I don't move my body enough, not be able to do shit by the time I'm like 70 something, you know, 80 something. I have no aspirations of slowing down at that age, you know. And so a body in motion stays in motion. And if we can do it in a competitive realm and atmosphere and place, you know, that makes it even more fun sometimes, you know, if you can do it and be accepting of the fact that you have to evolve how you do it as you age, and or not always be hung up on being the absolute winner every time, because that's just not the reality of life. You know, learning to be good with losing, because that happens too. um, but you just got to have fun with it, man.
Being at our best self really gives us this grace in life where we know that we tried or we tried to do everything we could. We have our body intact, you know, our muscles are working. Eh, They may not be 100%, but 98% is good enough. It's better than 20%. We know that our brain is relaxed, where when we work out, we release these endorphins and the chemistry inside of our body balances, and it releases, you know, the pain transmitters to let us know what we need to heal, and starts releasing out, you know, all the red blood cells and white blood cells to go ahead and do their job. So, you know, working out and uh staying active actually does this medical benefit to us. It's not just a, oh, I look good in the mirror, because that's also good. You know, if we can understand that we are s- symmetrical, we have balanced our body. Oh, you know, our left and right and our upper and lower portions of our body are balanced, then you know that's good when we go to sleep. I know I benefit when I go to sleep. I really started finding my zen and really started finding the understanding of how a balanced and healthy body can be beneficial for us. Where like years ago, I was just kind of uh, uh out of understanding of we are as a human, and what we can do to benefit ourselves. You know, just working out, doing yoga, eating right. These things um I didn't always understand it. I didn't always appreciate it. And it was probably around year 3 in the gym where I started really finding my zen, my peace and understanding, like, man, you know, I was injured at some point where I was playing basketball, you know, and things, you know, that was pains in my body, and but the gym kind of healed that. I don't notice as much difficulty in any movements anymore. I'm actually probably in my best shape now. So for everybody out there, it's, you know, Not everybody gets their zen in the gym, but we can see that there is a point where some people just give up. There's probably your listeners aren't those type of people though, but it's good to see though that we can take ourselves to a new level, next level. I know in my social medias right now, I get a lot of messages saying, "Man, like you're inspiring me. Keep it up, good job, and wow, your body's impressive." And they see my journey, and it's like it's only been until now that I finally hit my zen, and I've been able to release this peace and understanding for myself to other people. Um, how would you say, like when did you find that find like when did you find that peace, and when did you find that confidence in the next level? Like how take you to so for my viewers out there so they understand, is it something that you got right away? Does it take a while for you? Some people, get it in their 70s. That's for you.
No, that's first of all, thank you for sharing all that. I think obviously we all kind of hit our own stride at some point or another. Sometimes we have to hit a low, and I think that when we experience that and we start going through the changes from like what you were talking about, changing how you eat and you start to move your body and exercise, and um, I don't know when that happened for me. I just know that I saw a lot of messed up bodies and people coming into hospitals when I was working in California in hospitals for things that were totally preventable, man. Um, it's no, I
So
don't think it's a
the
secret that,
medical industry aspect of your life is really the game changer. As mentioned in your bio, when you went over to I hear this a lot. I hear the medical industry is by far so bad, like one of the worst, that it changes a lot of people.
yeah. Um, there, it's no secret that, in California, people have a lot of cosmetic surgeries, right? Um, but it was very crazy when I also saw how many people were having surgeries for things that were overweight related. Um, and I think that what I'm trying to get at is when I made the transition from working or putting my energy and earning an income, you know, doing something that was not fulfilling or that I felt was productive to my fellow human kind. That's when I was at my low, and I made the decision to go the other direction and try and keep people out of those places and do better. That was when I found my zen. So
For the
I
record,
almost wonder if the kind of
I
zen
I think this is
I
some
almost
loose
wonder if the kind
facts.
of zen that you're looking for
Uh,
is what was that? What's up?
America
Talk to
and the
me.
health. It's we have the worst obesity problem in the world. Linked with that, we have some of the worst cancer rates and strokes and things like that. So when you're in the medical industry, I can understand how bad it is that you're actually talking about these things. And in California, where it is one of the worst for sure. Um, yeah, it's really bad, and I know that the medical industry has this weird anomaly that the number 3 or the number 3rd causing death in America for everything is medical malpractice. So there's just like weird anomalies where people just die in the medical, under the medical care of hospitals or surgeons or whatever.
Yeah, I didn't get to see or witness a whole lot of that, but what I could see is what we can all see when we look at other human beings, the condition of their body, not just the shape of people's bodies, but how they move, how they walk, how they sit, how they hold their body, like all those different things. And I think that's something that I started noticing and picking up on, and especially when you're in hospitals where everybody that goes to a hospital, it's not because they fucking want to go there. Even the people that work there don't want to go there. Very few people like are in love with their job as a doctor and a nurse, and I say this because I know people that work in the industry. Nobody likes, nobody honestly enjoys being in a reactive experience and being a human, being there and catching people. It's one of the hardest places to be because it messes with your head, you know? The kind of like the kind of humor and things that the people that work in those industries like consider okay or normal, it's kind of messed up. It's kind of comical, but it's a dark kind of comical. And I don't think they all take the time to process all the things that they experience in hospitals. The kind of ways that the things that people go in for, weird things like things getting stuck up their butt, or all the other stuff like because of drug overdoses, and or what we're seeing more commonly now is the kind of sicknesses that people deal with because of being overweight. You know, so many things could be preventable if we just watched what we ate and if we moved our body a lot more. And I guess that just goes back to how and where I found my
Yeah,
zen when I decided to be a part of a world and a daily active practice of helping people stay out of that place and live life, on our own terms, healthy, or as healthy as we can be. That's zen. Everything else I do outside of that, it's an extra blessing, man.
yeah, the medical industry is pretty sick. I know that during the COVID pandemic, there was a lot of doctors and nurses under fire for creating a lot of TikTok videos and them doing all of our hospitals were supposed to have been packed and everything, and then how they treated the patients under ventilators with Damosvir, cyanide. It goes back. This whole medical mess goes back 100 years ago on the war on holistic medicine. There's been a war on really videos that you know a lot of our schools were actually real. They had gym that were very serious, and teachers that were very serious on athletic performance, and all their students were very sharp. But like over the last 100 years, that every decade it seemed there's been a dimming of the American true way, I guess, where we're supposed to have been eating healthy stuff, or organic, non-GMO, um, things like that. Even the medical industry and how uh, they've almost funneled genetics, funneled genetics and medicines, and it's created a problem. I know that we can help people return to that naturality, and I think that um, learning how to do yoga and meditate and access these different chambers of our brain, and you know um really help unlock our full potential, can be a combat to this. What do you think about yoga? Do you practice yoga? Is this part of your regimen? I, I don't see anything about this.
We do active recovery classes where you could say I do asanas, which are some yoga poses in the gym. Yeah, but I haven't, as of lately, I haven't been doing so much of a yoga flow approach in classes. Where you're doing a very choreographed specific sequence. I used to do it in that way, for a while, but I fell out of my practice and I wasn't doing it very often. So nowadays, when I lead my classes, I just sequence together specific stretches, and of course include some self myofascial release techniques or foam rolling to certain tissue in the body based on the kind of training that's happening in the gym, and the current programming and training that might be happening. Um, but I still do, on occasion, attend a yoga class here and there, where I will go practice it because somebody else is leading, because I do enjoy that kind of thing, but I haven't been practicing or teaching in that fashion myself.
I hear, well, not just I hear, I know because I do, but from everything that I see online over the last few years, yoga has been a huge help in shaping people's lives for the better. It almost seems like YouTube has been the quickest hit for 5 minute yoga, 10-minute yoga, 15-minute yoga, and these things can activate um, a lot of energy in our body. Like, what do they call them? The ancient Chinese, they have the acupuncture on our like chakra systems. Is that something that you understand about yoga and our body? Are you into understanding of ether and the holistic side of our body and the ancient side of unconsciousness with the health and wellness?
You know, that's there's a very huge and wide world of yoga. Um, the the yoga certification program that I was blessed to actually experience myself wasn't your traditional one. The ones that are, I forget which one is the very commonly accredited one. There's a American, like a very commonly accredited yoga association that's well known. Slipping my mind right now, but they really focus most of their hours for their first level 200-hour certification on mat practice. The sequence of the asanas, the different yoga positions. But yoga isn't just this thing that happens in a yoga studio on a mat where you practice breathing, and at the beginning of class you go home, and then at the end you say namaste. Like, that's a very small part of the yoga world. So when you're talking about, if I believe in the energies that they talk about in the chakras and the different energy that exists in the main chakras that we're talking about, from the root all the way to the crown and above that, right? Um, I believe that there's a science to that. I believe that there is something to that. That was one of the third or fourth unique paths of physical movement or practice or training, but that also, besides the mm, physical aspect, had a spiritual component or um, energy about it, right? And that's when we're talking about
Chi. They call it chi.
no, that in martial arts, chi, right? And the yogi practice, oh, what would you call it in there?
Piranha.
Yes, breath. Well, prana's breath, I believe. Um, but I guess what I'm trying to get at is, yeah, there's a different part of the yoga practice where you can, access different types of energy, different types of things from different breathing practices and or meditation, and combining those things with certain yoga poses held and doing these things. Um, and there's so many different ways of practicing it because India, where this is, widely practiced, is a country known as the land of a million gods because there's so many ways of worshiping and practicing, which is why yoga is a very interesting way of living or culture. You can't even call it a religion because it's a different thing. And I'm nobody to try and even define it for anybody. As a professional, yeah, I got a 200 hour yoga certification, and I did go to India and spend a month over there, and I was able to study at some ashrams and go do yoga and spend time over there. But um, you really don't know it unless you're there and there for a long time, I think. And I only got a little taste of it, but it's a very fun and cool way to take care of your body, and a lot of people can find a healing experience from getting into yoga, not just physically, but of course mentally, and there's a spiritual practice of it. And India is just a very intriguing country, period. With a very long, deep history. It's a very cool place, and I think that's what got me excited about yoga too. Just that I'm a travel buff. I think it's so cool to see different places of the world.
Where did you go in India? And let's talk about that if you don't mind. Is it that I believe yoga is like a true lifestyle, this ancient lifestyle, respected, and you can see that like over there people are extremely flexible but very athletic. It's like they're just naturally n- almost natural, I guess. They a lot of them are birthed with it.
Well,
How is it going in India?
that's an interesting statement. They're birthed with it. um, I think we're all birthed with the potential if we practice it and use it. So I think like any other place, you're gonna see people that ain't so flexible in India because I saw people that were not. um, but did I just huck Tua? No, it was Tua. Um, dude, I so I when I went, I spent four
So,
weeks when I
India
went.
seems amazing.
Yeah, I spent 4 weeks there, man. I went to New Delhi first, um, and I was there. Excuse me. I was there with a nonprofit organization where I was able to go hang out with some go hang out with some kids at schools in the slums in New Delhi. Um, oh man, I wish I would have
Talking about
thought.
Slumdog Millionaire status?
No, slums. The slums is like a word for ghetto, I guess, or basically a part where just the poorest live. Um, oh man, I'm gonna have
Mm,
to. I'm almost
yeah.
tempted to look it up right now, but um, I went to a place where I was part of my volunteer service there was taking people to see where the poor lived because these people would like donate to help with just general living over there, donating to some schools that were put together by this organization that I volunteered my time with. And I'm not saying the name or anything because I don't know what I can say or I'm supposed to share, but it was they had schools there where they basically teach these kids, to speak English and other basic things like environmental awareness because the place is really trashed over there. It's very dirty, very polluted. some very basic things that they would teach the kids there. Of course, basic math skills and things like that. But I would take people on tours over there. And in this area where I would give tours, there was like I would say it was like a 1 square. No, 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 that's a lie. It might have been like a 5 square mile radius. It's not very big, but in this area, the population was like 50,000 people. And it's a very, very small, tight, compact area. And so you have an idea for the living conditions there. Those 50,000 people living there, 90% of those homes, and I don't know why I even call them homes. They're like shacks. Some of them like a size of a small bedroom, built with makeshift material, tin, aluminum, just wood, um, some mortar and concrete, rock stuff that people would like find, whatever. 90% of these places didn't have uh, running water, and it was it's just not good living conditions, man. It was rough, but somehow these people still had this cheer about them, man. And that was the part that was kind of effed up for me to experience, to see that in spite of these like rough living conditions and the poverty that they were living in, they could still smile. That was fucking dope. And it was very humbling, and every day was I don't know, I felt so alive, and so grateful on so many levels. But it was a hell of an experience, man. I would
Those
say I
type of
highly
environments
recommend it,
destroy
but
all type of ego and really let you grow into what you're there for. And I bet you're able to find real peace when you're doing your yoga training. Took you out of what we think ourselves and really humbles us.
mm, yeah, I can definitely say that was one of the things that I felt and I experienced. Amongst many other things, some of the most pungent, foul smelling things because of the dirtiness and disgustingness flowing in some of these canals, man.
Yeah,
And some of the, eh,
how they are. They worship poop sometimes. Some of them worship poop in them. They hold it sacred, and there's no plumbing, and it's bad. It's vile. Yeah,
yeah, it definitely had some of its dirty parts, but like any place, man, it had its rough areas, and then it had its upscale, beautiful areas of the New Delhi city, man. But that's where I spent most of my time when I was at the capital. It was the poor areas. But when I wasn't there, I would go to the bazaar, and that was a really cool place. You could say that that's the equivalent to the La Pulga, the flea market over here. They have the bazaar, and that shit's on another level, man. They're so dense and populated over there, man. So many people. But the stores are cool, man. The bazaars, that's dope. You've been to a flea market, right, man?
yeah. I never ate that finger food that I be seeing on them carts over there on the other side of the world. They be serving the food with their hands and making the food with their hands and feet.
Yeah, I ate that stuff too, though.
Not over here.
Oh man, it just is what it is.
Yeah, I actually worked in the flea market a couple times. Pasco flea market. It was pretty
Mm.
fun. I ain't gonna lie. Serving to all the Mexicans. I didn't know too much Spanish, but it was cool. Uh, y-
Yeah. So you don't know Spanish, huh?
What?
I would have assumed you did because of your last name. Look at that. That's messed up.
Yeah, I know,
I
right?
shouldn't assume.
I wish I knew Spanish. Yeah, I wish I knew Spanish, but my generation is very Americanized over here. Um, did you train under a yogi? Did you learn from
Yeah,
a
man.
certain
So
yogi? And
after I was in New Delhi for 2 weeks doing this volunteer work, right? And I told myself that I was going to spend half the trip volunteering and the other half just traveling. I didn't make any plans at all. The only thing I knew I was going to do when I got there was I was going to volunteer with this organization, and from there I would get to know people and ask questions, and I would make my decision of where I was going to go.
so you're just gonna
Eh,
let the universe take you?
yeah, yeah, man. And what ended up happening was the guy that I got to know there, the guy who hosted me, his name is Shiva. Shiva, what up, motherfucker? I love you. I miss you, man. And it was a badass time. Thank you for taking care of me there, man. Shiva knew that I was into
Do you think that
fitness and
these guys were
exercise, and
believers of like the God Shiva right there, and these guys were practicers of a deity?
so this gentleman that I'm talking about, Shiva, he actually was a a Sikh, I believe. Pretty sure he was a of the Sikh culture. I feel like I gotta look this up to make sure
Rich.
so the Sikhism, yeah. No, not the rich. It's a different branch of religion, and group of people over there, um, in the India region. But I can't say that he worshipped or believed in Shiva, the one of the Hindu gods that you're talking about. They have a different belief
Yeah,
over
that's what I
there.
was referring to. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
no, I believe he was a Sikh and didn't worship Shiva or those the same gods. I think, I don't know. Man, that just shows how out of touch I am with that
Uh,
stuff because I used to study the hell out of all that. But where I was getting at,
did
you're
did
asking me
was
about
it
where
like
I
more of the
trained.
Mahabharata?
Um, I'm not sure. But I've heard of what you're talking about, what you're referring to. I'm not sure. But where I went after New Delhi was
Okay.
Rishikesh. Have you heard of that place, Rishikesh?
No, I'm not too familiar with the cities in India except New Delhi. I think that's the capital, right?
Yeah. So that place, Rishikesh, is kind of like renowned or known as the yoga capital of India or of the world in general, right? Because they have like the most ashrams per square kilometer in that area. Like a little town, a little village. So after Shiva tells me to go there, he leads me there. I guess you could say he points me in that direction. He tells me how and where to go buy my bus ticket to get over there, and I get on one of these rickety old buses, and off in the dark I ride out of New Delhi after 2 weeks. One of the one of the oddest travel experiences for me, man, because we start driving at night on this bus with all these people who obviously don't I don't speak Hindi barely at all. And I fall asleep, and I wake up and I'm looking out, and the sun is not quite peeking out, still very early, maybe like 3:30, 4 in the morning or something. And in my mind, I'm imagining that I don't understand why, but I'm thinking about like the Lion King looking out into the wild safari lands because all I see is like forest out there. and it feels so foreign being out there, and I'm thinking about like fucking the Jungle Book and shit like that because I'm in India. uh, and we stop at some place in the morning, probably a couple hours before getting to Rishikesh, which was about, it must have been, I don't know if it was a 3 or 7 hour bus ride. No, it was probably like 7 hours. And we get out there to this town, and it's one of the coolest things when you get out there and you see it. And I don't know what it looks like now. You know, that was like 9 years ago, 8 years ago. But there's two towns there. Um, the first town is a town before Rishikesh, and this town that's on one side of the river, um, the infamous Ganga River, one of the most revered river in India, the Ganga River. There's this little town called Laxmanjula, and Laxmanjula and Rishikesh have this huge bridge that connects them. It's like a cable bridge, um, suspension bridge, and it's just wide enough for some tuk-tuks to actually drive through in case they want to go back and forth. I feel like I remember that. Tuk-tuk is like one of these three-wheel vehicles that people use for like taxis over there. So it's like a three-wheeler kind of thing. And it's just a crazy, beautiful sight. I can't put it into words, man. I'm not like the best at articulating um, the sight, but it's this little town, and then on the other side of the town is Rishikesh, and it's just littered with all these different types of temples, and in India they're called an ashram, and it's just a crazy beautiful sight to see, man. Um, the
Are
light
these
the
the ancient temples that we can see on Ancient Aliens, where these things are egg shaped and they have statues and they have crazy inscriptions and the architecture seems out of this world?
um some of the ashrams have those like interesting shaped tops, but I'm not sure if they're exactly what you're describing or asking about. I would encourage anybody that wants to see them to look it up. I'm going to spell it out, okay?
All right.
Lakshman. Lakshman Jula. Jhula. Just look that up and see what pops up, man. That that is ingrained in my heart, man. It's seared into my heart, man. These views of this place. I spent 1 week there. I could have spent months if I had the time. But everybody out there, if you're listening, Laxmanjula, and that connects to Rishikesh, which is on the other side. These two places are next to each other.
Yeah, so I see the city over here on online. I'm trying to pull it up. But are you aware of what I was discussing about a minute ago, what I was asking about these ancient temples and these ancient sites over there in India that that are thousands actually. In India they have some of the most an- ancient architecture still existing. They're treated sacred. They have just otherworldly type of architecture, and it seems like the people just respect them as ancient, and they're of the gods. As you had said, India is the land of 1,000 gods.
Land of a million gods, brother. Land of a million gods.
Yeah, more.
So I am aware of what you're talking about. I've seen some of those shows, some of those documentaries. What's the name of that guy that put together some very compelling videos or evidence from his like archaeological explorings, comparing these things in like these different Asian countries and in India and in these other places where they have temples that seem to have common types of architecture and setup. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, I understand that a lot of our ancient cultures had very advanced technologies and very advanced architecture, but as far as what is similar to India, I the only things that I'm aware of were would be like Indonesia and Philippines and areas in those regions. It seems like a lot of the ancient architecture fits between those regions and is similar. Uh, but I was wondering if you had seen if you were when in your time over there you had seen those any of them, or you walked through some of the temples or anything, any of the ancient
You
sites,
you know, I don't recall
or is it
seeing.
like
I
that?
didn't. No, I didn't see anything like that when I was over there. A lot of the ashrams and temples that I saw were a lot of the traditional Hindu ones.
I'm pulling up this picture for all the viewers here at home, of this place. What is it? I can even Lakshman Jula.
Yeah.
It does look pretty nice. What's the temperature out there? Is it pretty humid? Pretty fair? What is it?
You know, I was there in October. It was nice weather. It was like I feel like mm, it was warm. It was nice. I feel like it was 70s, if I remember. Not humid. It was nice. I had company in my rooms. There was lizards, those kind of animals and critters.
Oh man.
I was staying in what you would call guest houses over there. And those guest houses, they the equivalent of maybe $5 a night. They were awesome.
Yeah, that
You know
sounds
that
pretty
bridge,
sweet.
that that that
I would.
that bridge that you saw right there in that photo you're looking at. There's monkeys running on that bridge. You have to watch your hat because they could snag that shit from you, man. It was awesome.
Oh, yeah. I do know that the forests are pretty real up there, and they don't really mess with them. So, like, if you ride along the edge of the forest the whole time, then you were right there in the Jungle Book. You had mentioned you were looking over there like you were Tarzan. Um,
Yeah.
you know, so are you thinking of bringing that style of yoga that you had learned to some of your classes? That'd be pretty sweet. You should. That'd be a good idea.
You know, there was so many different types of yoga, and it's really hard to define yoga. When I was over there, I found out that there was such a thing as laughing yoga. Have you heard of laughing yoga?
No, but there's also like hot yoga and and things like that. And so there's a lot of different types of yoga.
Exactly.
I don't know
Exactly.
what
So it's
laughing yoga
exactly,
is.
exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, so when you're saying, do I want to bring back the kind of yoga I learned about over there? Like, yeah, I did do like, like
Okay,
yoga with asanas and stuff like that.
I
But I
see.
also found out about yoga over there that was like a laughing yoga. There's all sorts of yoga, bro. That's all I'm saying. Um, so I myself as a practitioner, as a dare I say a movement practitioner, even though these days I do a shit ton of calisthenic strength training and a lot of weight training and just martial arts. And to me, that's really just two and a half, maybe three movement practices. And there's a lot of other things that I don't consistently do, like my dance and or practicing my acrobatics a little bit more. But the yoga that I teach, when I do teach and I really get into it and I decide to put on some kind of a intentional music playlist or sound, and I'm gonna do what is commonly known or practiced in a lot of like popular yoga studios. um, I have my own approach when I'm doing my yoga because of the things that I like to do, like martial arts and dancing and some different things in acro yoga, like human balancing. So when I practice my yoga and it's by myself versus doing it in a class setting, that's different because I get to do it the way I have built my body with my personal approach to training and exercise, which is not the same thing. And it doesn't come out when I'm putting my classes together. Um, my classes that I put together with my yoga and or my classes that I provide strength training, conditioning, people are they're getting blocks or chunks of different things that I have done, and all of them in different amounts or quantities or proportions for myself. Um, some of them less than others, some of them more than others, and I craft them in a way that's going to get people what they're looking for. Commonly in gyms these days, which is something that's going to make them look different, aka look better, help, aka burn fat, put on some muscle, preferably muscle in certain areas of their body to create a certain kind of aesthetic view or look. Um, but I also make sure to incorporate a certain level of functionality because that's what is important to me, and all the other different ways I do it. So when I'm practicing yoga or teaching yoga, it's going to look very different in a classroom setting because of the limits that people's bodies have, because of the limits that they have to practicing and how they can train and move their body, because it's never going to be the way I have done it over my entire life and how I continue to do it now. Because nobody can
Right on.
genuinely express their practice like another person. It's we all have our own way of doing that.
You had mentioned that you were going to run for a member and for your city. If I can bring it up, that way you can tell all the viewers out there, all the locals who are going to be listening to this broadcast in the Tri City and the Benton County area. What is it that you're gonna be running for?
Yeah,
And
yeah. So
talk about that.
I'm running for the Franklin County Public Utilities District Commissioner for the third district. Um, I just started attending their meetings about a year and a half ago. And for those that don't know what that is, the public utility district, those are the people who are in charge of your electricity, making sure that there's no power outages, try and keep that stable. They try and keep prices affordable. They are in charge of the infrastructure for investing and making sure that we have a high-speed internet, um, and making decisions to making decisions that affect everybody's lives. You know, as far as your electric rates and internet and other parts of your living goes. Um, it's actually something that I never thought I was going to be doing. I did not have intention of doing it. I never wanted to do something like this, but there's a calling, there's a need, um, and somebody who I know who believes in my leadership capability and what they saw and what I already do with the community and for the community thought that I should consider looking into this place where there's a need for leadership and representation in District 3 over here. So so that's something I'm doing. Yeah.
What's your solar power? Well, I guess it's not even me. I'm over here in Grandview, but are you gonna bring people solar power? You're gonna uh how, how are you gonna tackle this
So,
job?
oh man, so there's a lot of things that we have to deal with. First of all, the last meeting I attended, one of the things that I can tell you that stood out to me during that meeting was the fact that they said by 2030, making sure that we have stable and enough electricity is going to be a challenge. Um,
No, it's not. Well, I thought, aren't you aware of the zero carbon, world's first fertilizer plant up there? You guys are building, and it's gonna bring a new nuclear, which is going to house enough electricity for all cities, and it's gonna have 75% reserves over. Are you aware of what I'm talking about? I'm gonna go ahead and pull it up on my.
I'm not a hundred
You know what I'm talking
percent
about?
I'm not 100% familiar with that, but um, this is just something that was discussed, and anybody that wants to look into it can look up the meeting minutes. They're public. They're posted on the website. Um, but it's not as easy or as simple as it's might have made out to be. It's definitely a complex issue. You know, renewables that are environmentally friendly and safe. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done for it to all work out and for it to be affordable and not affect other areas of the realities that we have to experience here. You know, like the agricultural sector, the people that live in District 3 that I am wanting to come up and represent for. You know, um, they're just disproportionately affected by some decisions that are made. And I know that there's just it's a complex thing that needs to be handled. And I'm really getting into the research and learning a lot about these things since, like I said, I've only been attending these meetings for the last year and a half, and it's not as simple as the things that they talk about, that they share like on the news or in the newspapers. You know, there's to really become like really informed about these things. For example, like I'm grabbing this document right now that's on my couch, and this thing is probably about 70 pages thick. Um, and I think that it's something that's available for people to see. Nope, maybe not. Probably just for me, because on the cover it says confidential and proprietary. But um, it's an it's a strategic plan, basically, a resolution that has to do with you know, the electrical grid and all the things that are going into making sure that we have power and energy and electricity, because it is getting complex and challenging. And I know that part of that has to do with the initiatives and the pushes to go fully electrical and reduce fossil fuel usage. Um, it's there's a lot of work in it, and it takes time to do a lot of these things. And I have no idea if it's challenging because they're not willing to invest in those places that are necessary, or if they're not putting enough money into research, or if it's just things being held up in a political way because of private sectors or whatever. These are things that I'm trying to learn and find out about, because I really don't know how much a person that is in the position that I am pursuing to earn the right to lead in. I don't know how much of a difference and how much influence they truly have. That's something that I want to find out. And I guess that's one of my biggest concerns, to be honest, that all this battle, all this work to go there and say that we want to do something to serve the people, the community. And I wonder if upon getting there, I'll find out that you really can't do that much, because we see these things happening at the federal level or at the national level with presidents and these national figures that we hear about promising they can do this and do that, and then they don't do it. They don't follow through. Is it because what's holding them up? And I want to find out what holds people up from making things happen at these levels, and I'm getting into it here at the community level. And I'm here to learn, and I want to learn and then in turn inform and educate, with everybody that is in the community, so that everybody's aware of what's going on and why certain decisions are being made or considered, and give them an opportunity to voice what they want us to do, you know?
Right on. So, just for your understanding of what exactly I was talking about, Atlas Agro has bid for 1.1 billion zero carbon fertilizer plant in Richland. It's going to house a brand new world class green hydrogen nuclear style power, something of the it's very I'm not exactly 100% sure what they're doing, because the founder said that it's secret still. So when they come out with it, they'll come out with it, and it's going to be a brand new technology, is what I had seen in one of the interviews. um it's going to pretty much be in cahoots with Hanford. I believe they're building tunnels to and fro from both of these sites. And it's yeah, it's going to be a revolutionary, um uh I guess, energy source for Tri-Cities. They're going to provide fertilizer, and they're going to also export energy, renewable energy, and probably electricity for
Right on.
the Tri-Cities area.
Right on. Yeah. I don't know a whole lot about that, man. That's interesting. I'll definitely be curious to see what's going on. But as you said earlier, there's
Yeah,
something
you should
secretive
definitely write
about
that
it.
down. It's called yeah, you should
There.
write it down. Check it out. Atlas Agro, building green hydrogen 1.1 or $1 billion Richland plant. So, do people I guess vote for you in this election? When's the election? When is it? Is it
You know
November for
what?
this for you?
Yeah. So the general election season just kicked off recently, and the votes are due by November 5th. So I guess this is the part where I'm gonna put in a plug like people do in those famous podcasts, right? If you want to learn more about
Yeah.
what's
Like let me
people, yeah,
know.
if people want to learn more, know more about this, please visit my website. It's Pedro PUDvote.com. That's PEDRO PUDVOTE.com. and you'll learn a little bit about what my campaign's about, what we're doing, and anybody that is interested in supporting, please drop in, check it out. So you know a little bit of history or context to this. The District 3 is currently under an at-wide voting system, which has diluted the representation or the vote of people within District 3. And what that means is there's three districts for the PUD here: first, second, and third. District 3 is comprised of central, downtown, eastside Pasco, and District 2 and 1 are west side Pasco and the North Pasco County area, respectively. So basically, up north, kind of like heading towards Connell area, farmlands, farm owner area, country, like out there. Which means that those areas, West Pasco and the county area, north of Pasco area, can actually vote for who's in District 3, just like District 3 can vote for District 1 and District 2 and influence their area. But District 3 doesn't really impact or influence their vote because District 3 is predominantly Latino. There's only like a 25% voter turnout rate here. And interestingly enough, I think there's like maybe 25% of this population here is white. 75%, maybe 80% is like Latino, Central South American, Mexican. Um, and as you know, English is a second language for most of them. It's one of the densest areas as far as like population goes, and they just have like the least amount of political activity or involvement. So by nature of how the voting system is, people in the other counties who are much more active and more likely to vote have been kind of impacting who is regularly voted to represent this district. And as it stands right now, the gentleman, the incumbent that I'm going against, isn't representative of this district, being a predominantly Latino community. Current gentleman in there is he's American. He's white, not just American, but a white, Caucasian. Nothing wrong with that, but I don't think he really gets the experience of the people that actually live in this community and represent the dominant population living here. Most of them living, on the edges, low income. Many of them have the migrant experience. English is their second language. They're not very well served, and most people that are resourceful and have the time and or different levels of education awareness, they just they have a different access to resources that the people here don't, and there's nobody who can be the voice for them. And I just don't think that the person who's currently in that seat can do that like I can and like I'm going to, because I get that experience of the people that do live here. My parents were migrants. I know what it's like to be impacted by small things like electric, the cost of electricity. For us, it's kind of a bigger deal when those rates are impacted or costs go up. And if everybody goes to the FranklinCountyPUD.com website, you can look up exactly what this is all about. Or actually, there's even an article that you can look at and look into at my website related to this campaign, so you can understand what we're really fighting for here.
Is there like a team that you have that that people can also see? I guess the online. I guess is there people that's helping you out?
Yeah, man, I do have a small campaign team that has helped me do some great things. But we are definitely looking for more volunteers still. It's definitely going to be demand a great effort. So we definitely need more people to help us out. So anybody that goes to the website, please drop your email and let us know how you can help. Whether it's going to be by donating cash to be able to help us with the printing costs and the cost of things that go into this, and or supporting with volunteering. We're going to be doing some phone banking, some door knocking. But again, take a moment to take a look at the website, and if you believe in the mission and what we're doing and why we're doing it, I think that that'll be enough to compel anybody to be willing to be a part of this in some way.
Sweet. It's been about 90 minutes. Well, how about I go ahead and have you back on here pretty soon, and in another couple weeks. You could continue on telling them more about your journey in your gym, and we didn't really get involved in what you guys do at your gym that people can learn about. So we'll have you on again sometime, and then you can tell more about your campaign and what you're gonna be promoting and changing.
Yeah, man, that sounds
And
fun.
best of luck. Best of luck to this campaign. Let them know what you got up and coming as far as any type of classes for your gym, or like
Oh
where they can
yeah.
find real fast. Any last message?
Yeah, yeah. So look us up on Facebook, Movement Athletics USA. We're here in Pasco. On Instagram, it's also Movement Athletics USA _. You can find me also my personal Instagram page, Coach _ Pedro _ Torres. Here in about 3 weeks, we're going to be running a 6-week fitness challenge for anybody that wants to get dialed in. It's not gonna by any means be a dramatic now to wow program, but it's 6 weeks to get you focused, dialed in with nutrition, some good focus training, additional accountability. People that are looking to make a 6-week transformation, you get what you get out of it, what you put into it. So really excited to have that coming up here in the next few weeks. So anybody that's looking for something to do, get your mind right, get your body right, come hang out with us. Let's do this challenge.
That's right. It's always good to challenge yourself and be around people who want to see you be at your best and challenge yourself to your best. And with that, guys, I appreciate all of you guys being here. Hope you guys have a wonderful night. Uh, Pedro, any last message? You want to say anything motivational to them?
Oh man, you know, I guess my last message for tonight is thanks for hanging out. I really enjoyed hanging out and talking here. I hope that we can work on improving the audio here somehow, or maybe we can do this thing in person because the inability to like more naturally converse because of how this kind of chopped out a little bit. That was kind of tough, but for anybody that's out there, I I see the kind of passion and the kind of energy that you're putting into your studies, into your focus on becoming certified, and how you're putting yourself out there and training and working out a lot, Joseph. And I think that anybody that can see and draw from how you put yourself out there, how you're passionate about it, and I admire and love how you're in here putting on your podcast. I think it's really cool that you're doing that. So many people don't do it just because of fear, out of fear of not succeeding, or because they're afraid people won't like them or listen to them. And the fact that that you have the courage to do it and be doing this, I think that speaks a lot. That speaks volumes, man. And I just want to honor that. Um, and anybody else that's listening, if it's something you want to do, get out there and do it. And if not, support somebody like this channel, like JD Pena was saying earlier, support, drop in, because I think that there's some really cool things and cool conversations that can be had as we get to know each other on different levels as humans, both in our personal and professional lives. I really enjoyed this.
I appreciate that. Remember, guys, reach for the stars so you can land on the clouds. But if not, you'll be right underneath the heavens. With that, guys, I love you guys. You guys So take care. Be blessed. Be high. See you guys next time on the 509 Divines Podcast. Peace.